There's been a lot of love for iconic children's book character Paddington Bear recently. The movie Paddington 2 set a record earlier this year as the best reviewed movie on Rotten Tomatoes ever. The kind-hearted bear turned 60 this year, and to celebrate, he comes to America for the first time in an exhibition at the Carle Museum of Picture Book Art in Amherst. Connecting Point's Jared Bowen met with the artist who makes Paddington picture perfect and brings us this story.
First of all, the ears on a bear are up on top of his head. The nose might be there, but then maybe I want him looking over there, so I'll slide the nose that way.
And so it begins. The crayon strokes that bring Paddington Bear to life, materializing in the world at the hand of illustrator R.W. Alley. He's been Paddington's maker since 1997.
After 20 years of illustrating him, Paddington is a very real friend who I enjoy drawing his adventures.
Paddington was the creation of Michael Bond, a BBC cameraman turned writer. It was the late 1950s, and stopping at a London department store just before Christmas, he spotted a lone teddy bear sitting on a shelf. He began to imagine how the bear came to be in London, and his book, A Bear Called Paddington, was born. Who is Paddington?
Paddington is an ageless bear living his life in London. He began life as an orphaned bear in Peru, stowed away with the help of his Aunt Lucy, who raised him in Peru.
A well-meaning bear who often finds himself in sticky situations living with the Brown family, Paddington became a phenomenon. Bond sold more than 35 million books in 40 different languages before his death last year. The reason for Paddington's popularity, Alley says, is simple.
This is a character who shows what kindness and gentleness and being open to new possibilities and new people and just having a generous nature, that's it. He's that kind of character.
It's interesting, for a bear who gets in as much trouble as he does, there's something soothing about him.
Well, forgiveness is certainly a theme that runs throughout these books.
Ellen Kiter is the chief curator of the Carle Museum of Picture Book Art, presenting Paddington's first ever U.S. Museum survey. It's the backstory of the bear, from his first rendering by artist Peggy Fortnum, through iterations by multiple artists, who outfitted Paddington in his trademark blue duffel coat, rain hat, and wellies.
I really love the way that Michael tells the stories because you sort of suspend your belief, like, oh, it's perfectly normal that there's this bear from Peru living in a house with people and interacting with them. It's joyful and it's sweet.
Here you'll find the typewriter on which Bond wrote Paddington's stories, and these revealing early letters. Bond originally envisioned Paddington as an African bear, until his agent pointed out there are no bears in Africa. Instead, Bond decided he was from Peru and, in effect, a refugee.
He recalled newsreels from World War II of very tearful children being loaded up onto the trains to be taken out of the city of London for safety, and each child had a small suitcase and a tag attached to them with their name, and that really inspired him with this idea to give Paddington his suitcase and the tag, of course, that says, "Please look after this bear, thank you."
A charming man, absolutely charming.
Alley underwent an extensive audition process to take over illustrating Paddington, including a meeting with Bond in London. Look closely, Alley says, and you'll see a lot of Bond and Mr. Gruber, antique store owner and dear friend of Paddington.
I often thought of Mr. Gruber as Michael Bond, but Michael Bond was also Mr. Brown. He was really all the adults in Paddington's life.
Alley says Bond was incredibly detail-oriented. He always wanted Paddington to live in the present. He takes a spin in the London Eye in this story, and Bond was very specific about how Paddington and the Brown family lived.
I did not understand in one of the early stories how the Brown family in Paddington were moving through the Brown house. Now, there was a particular house that Michael said was the Brown's house in London, and he drew a floor plan so I would understand. and then he drew a garden plan, and then he drew a plan of the house next door, and then he drew a plan of this and a plan of that, and it was opening a floodgate, but still, it was very helpful.
Drawing Paddington today, Allie says each time he puts ink to paper, it feels as though he's visiting his old friend.
When I'm drawing him and trying to get the expression on his face and the pose of his body and the people around him, I put myself in the story, and I'm having a conversation with the drawing.
And what is it like for you to see him come up like that every time?
I love this, and sometimes I will save the eyes to the very end because I know that that's when it's all going to come together. But it usually works out pretty well.